What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Russian River Brewing Company, and they're out of both Santa Rosa and Windsor, California, and this is their Apical Dominance. So they're calling this one a Hoppy blonde ale that comes in at 6.25% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed, time of review. This bottle is just under 6 weeks old. I'm gonna give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Billy, for this beer. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Billy hooked me up with. And in that beer mail, Billy sent 7 different Russian River beers that are kind of a little bit more unfamiliar to the general population. And this is the 7th and a final beer from that box of goodies that I am reviewing. And it's been an incredible journey through all these Russian River beers. I can safely say that Vinnie, and I'm sure a lot of folks who drink Russian River beers already know this, but Vinnie Chilurzo, who is the brewmaster and co-owner of Russian River, he brews some amazing beers. 2 of the beers in the box were just absolutely phenomenal, world-class beers. And this is a Hoppy blonde ale. Do I drink a lot of blonde ales? No. Do I drink a lot of Hoppy blonde ales? Definitely not. But I'm looking forward to this one. So they have a little spiel here on the side. It says Apical Dominance is the phenomenon where the strongest central stem of the plant, or in this case a hop vine, becomes dominant over the other stems. We brew Apical Dominance with some of our favorite hops with citrus-driven notes. This includes Comet, Crystal, Citra, and Talus. Keep refrigerated and consume fresh to maximize the intense hop character. So they do talk about Talus being like the predominant hop in this one, and they, when they first saw it as like an experimental hop, I think it's like HBC 692 or whatever the number was for Talus, they wanted to brew with it. They thought it was fantastic, and I love Talus. I don't drink a lot of beers with Talus because you don't see a lot of brewers using Talus. I always get, and this is weird, I've only seen a couple other people mention this, but I get like a sweet cherry with Talus. And I can say that about 0 other hops, like a sweet cherry. So I'm hoping that Talus kind of comes to the forefront for me in this one, but it's a blonde ale. I just hope it's good. And knowing Russian River, I'm sure this is gonna be at the very least pretty damn solid. So like I said, thanks Billy for all of these Russian River beers. It's been fun to plow through them. And I wish I could get Russian River locally. I definitely drink their stuff all the time. So put this over here. Wow, that might be the lightest beer. This is very akin to that Simcoe Pale Ale that Row 2 Hill 56 that I reviewed. This is straight up, this looks like more of a hazy, fizzy yellow beer. Like this looks like even, I don't know. I've seen a lot of like Saisons where it has that like bright yellow. So maybe not like a straw golden yellow. It's more just a bright yellow. Again, has some haziness. There's a decent clarity. You can see the shadow and even make out a little bit of my hand through it, but like has a very gentle haze, very fine particulate floating around. Has a finger of a super creamy looking head, bright white for sure. And I have it in the Bellwoods glass. I don't drink a lot of Bellwoods stuff. We do get some decent distro, their stuff. So I got to drink some more Bellwoods. They're out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. But I wanted to use this glass because I love this glass. I think this glass is fantastic. So let's get a nose. Who cares about the glass, Joe? Man, it's a mixture of what I know about Talus and a huge amount of citrus. They're going for citrus, right? Yeah, citrus-driven notes, 100%. But I'm getting that Talus. So first thing that hits me is, again, I wouldn't say necessarily a sweet cherry, but it has like this cherry, slight berry nose. But right after it, it smells like fresh citrus. Like I have just sliced open a ruby red grapefruit next to like an orange, maybe a blood orange, maybe a navel orange, mandarin orange, some kind of orange in front of me. And then you just had like a lemon and lime hanging out to the side. And you're like, oh, probably not gonna eat you. But the rest of you, yeah, it's breakfast time. That's kind of what this smells like. It's citrus through and through. Oh my God, it smells like the citrus smells so fresh. And I just like that little cherry berry thing going on. There's an underlying like biscuity malt from the blonde ale. There's also like a zesty, pithy kind of citrus note that I'm getting that's like kind of standalone. Could be a little bit hop driven as far as like, it could be just like a zestiness or a spiciness from the hops as well. Could be the yeast playing that role. Oh my God. Touch of like a grassiness. But yeah, it has a real big like biscuit kind of aroma from the malt. Yeah, this again, I think their aromas, despite what the beers taste like, their aromas are fucking next level for these lower ABV beers. This is the 3rd like sub 6.5% beer I've had from them that the noses have just been immaculate. Like this is just over the top these are special noses. Aromas are fantastic. I want to get into this one, making my mouth water. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Billy. All right, I'm not going to lose my shit over this one like I did with the STS Pills and the Row 2 Hill 56, because to me, it's not as good as those beers, but it's still really fucking nice. This is quite tasty. And what I can say about this one, it has such a unique character because I think of the Talus, but just the fact that it's a blonde ale base. I don't drink a lot of blonde ales. If you watch a channel, maybe I've reviewed like a half dozen out of like, almost 1,800 reviews. It's not a style you see a lot, certainly not nowadays, and it's never one that I really gravitate. I don't dislike blonde ales. You just don't see a lot, and I've never had one that really kind of like blows my socks off. But this is probably the best blonde ale I've had. A little bit unfair because it's like a hop forward one, but it's still pretty good. The body of this one's a little bit bigger than I anticipated. It's like medium, maybe a touch over medium. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger at 6.25%. The mouthfeel, I thought this was going to be like pretty carbonated, like, approaching moderately carbonated, effervescent, spritzy on the tongue, dancing on the palate. It's not. It has a mild to moderate carbonation, more approaching moderate, but like not over the top. And it's really smooth. And again, I've been impressed with the Russian River beers for a multitude of different reasons, but one of them is the mouthfeels on a lot of these hop forward beers. It's like a mixture of like an old school West Coast hop forward beer and like a new school New England hop forward beer. Like it has like that smooth creaminess, but at the same time, it has, a decent carbonation to it. It's kind of strange, but it works. The taste, it's not like super complex, but what's here is blending together beautifully, very cohesive and balanced overall on the flavor profile. Front of the palate, I get hit with like a lot of citrus, like I was talking. There's ruby red grapefruit, a little bit sweeter. There's some kind of orange. If I had to guess, I say like mandarin or like a navel orange. And then there's a little bit of like a lemon lime kind of zestiness to it. Continues on through the biscuity notes from the malt hit. And again, it's just very biscuity, more so than any other beer that I can remember in recent memory. And that kind of dives underneath the palate, continues on throughout the palate, omnipresent there, never steps in the way. Midway through the palate, I get hit with a little bit of like a stone fruit. I'd say like a peach, maybe apricot, nectarine, something like that. And then right after that, a little pop of cherry from the Talus, just a small pop. And again, it's not I'd say just like if you ever buy a bag of like cherries, it's like almost a perfectly ripened cherry. So it's not over ripened where it's a lot sweeter. It's not under ripened where it's more like tart. It's like perfectly ripened. And it's just that pop right in the middle of the palate. Then it finishes with this spicy, floral, herbaceous kind of hop character. This is mild to moderately bitter, maybe a little bit more approaching moderately bitter, but kind of in the middle, maybe just leaning maybe like, 10, 15% towards the moderate side of things. Very dry. So what I like about this is it's not too sweet, very balanced from that perspective as well. Super quaffable, 6.25%. You can't tell. This is a really delicious hoppy blonde ale. Is it blowing my socks off? It is not. Is it extremely well made and quite tasty? Yes, it is. So this is just another beer from Russian River that's extremely well made. And now, after having all of these beers from them, I can safely say I'd try anything from them, any style. Even, again, go back to that Mind Circus, that hazy IPA that I reviewed a couple weeks ago. My least favorite beer of the bunch. I still give it a 4 out of 5. I called it a top tier shelfy hazy IPA, and I still stand by that. I've had some hazy IPAs from bigger craft beer producers that were just as good, if not better than that beer, but they're not known for hazy IPAs. They're known for, hop forward, old school, West Coast beers and stuff like this, being innovative, hoppy blonde ale, Talus, just a different kind of thing. So this is really good. I'm going to pour the rest in my glass because I want to drink the rest of this and just enjoy every second, which I will. So thank you, Billy, once again. This has been just an awesome experience. So Apical Dominance from Russian River, absolutely no issues whatsoever. I'm going to give this a straight 4.25 out of 5. That's where this one lands. If you're somebody who doesn't like blonde ales, you probably stay away from it. That biscuity kind of feeling from a blonde ale that I always say biscuity. You might say bready or cracker or something, but it has just like a very highly just impactful biscuity note. If you don't like that, you probably wouldn't like this one. But the Talus, along with those other hops, it's a unique kind of hop character in general. And I think it's fun more so than anything else. Price point availability, $6.99 up for this bottle. And would I pay that again for this beer? I might, depending on if I wanted to. If I was craving a blonde ale or like a hoppy blonde ale or this beer specifically, yeah, I'd pay $6.99. Is that a great deal? Probably not. Be honest with you, probably not, but it is California, so keep that in mind. And availability, I've seen a lot of people talk about availability. Like I always say, I don't know because I don't. And then someone will be like, oh, I saw that, here locally, or I got it here. And like they're halfway across the country. I don't really know with Russian River. I do know if you're in California though, I think Whole Foods gets like some of their, I think it was, I forgot who mentioned it to me, but somebody said like, you see their stuff in Whole Foods, you see like 3 or 4 different beers from them, like Pliny, Blind Pig, the STS pills and whatnot. That's insane to me. Like just in Whole Foods, here's some Russian River stuff. So if you can get your hands on Russian River at some point, it's worth checking them out. And I would say it's almost worth checking out the non-hype beers. Like, yeah, try out, I think everybody should try Pliny once. Everyone should try Blind Pig once. If you can get your hands on Pliny the Younger, definitely. But like, go off the beaten path, grab up this, grab the STS pills, see if you can get your hand on that Row 2 Hill 56. Get some of those beers, because I think those are more impressive. Like, as good as like Pliny is and Blind Pig, I like the STS pills and the fucking Row 2 Hill 56 better than both those beers. I said it. I don't regret it. So anyway, huge thanks one more time to Billy for all of these beers. It's been awesome to experience this stuff. If you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Just a really good beer overall. And I'm going to go drink the rest of this one and kind of gently weep off camera that I have no more Russian River beer to drink and review. So anyway, first world problems. To the next one. Cheers.